Hi, I'm Woody Huffines. I own the NerdsToGo in McKinney and Frisco, Texas, and this is Tech for the Untechnical. What does Internet of Things security have to do with being a good neighbor? Or at least a good internet neighbor? The story of why being good at Internet of Things security is also being a good internet neighbor has to do with the fact that you're on the internet, and that everybody that has any resource on the internet is effectively a neighbor of yours. And there's three parts to this story. There's Telnet, Botnet, and the dark web. So first of all, Telnet. Telnet is a protocol that's used to remotely log into a computer or a router or an Internet of Things device. The Telnet protocol was originally designed when all the computers were pretty much in the same building and the network was pretty much all the computers in that building, and it wasn't connected to the internet. And Telnet allowed somebody to remotely log into a computer and execute command line instructions, which was pretty handy for the Twinkie-eating IT guy in the basement. If you had a problem on your computer and you called down there, he didn't want to get up and come to the third floor to fix it, so he would Telnet into your device, use command line prompts, and use a command line prompt and command line code to fix your computer without having to get out of his chair. Pretty handy. Problem is that after we got into this internet environment, someone who wasn't in your building and wasn't on your network could log into your computer if the Telnet socket, the socket is a way for other computers to connect to your computer. It's a WIN socket. It's a stack of ports that somebody can use to log into your computer. So if you have a Telnet socket open on a device that's open to the internet, just about anybody can log into it if they've got the username and password, which is the problem with Telnet. Because Telnet was designed when it wasn't a public-facing device. It was something that was a service that was just inside the network. It didn't have a lot of security because it didn't have a lot of need for security. It's a really simple protocol, and it's really simple to log in with the Telnet, and that's what people used. But those Telnet servers or Telnet services that are open on devices, primarily routers now and Internet of Things devices, are there because they're relatively simple. The internet at large has gone to SSH, which is a secure sockets protocol, secure socket shell or secure shell. And what it does is it adds encryption and authentication, strong encryption and strong authentication. So it requires a lot more computing resources from the thing that you're logging into to generate that PKI encrypted tunnel back and forth between the two. The problem is an Internet of Things device, the light switch that you put or the thermostat that you put, doesn't have a lot of excess computing power to run a secure sockets or an SSH connection. And since it can't run an SSH connection, it still uses Telnet, which allows you to administer the device with a relatively simple protocol. That's just a command line protocol. So most of these Internet of Things devices have Telnet available for you to do administrative things on the device. The problem is it's very insecure. The second problem is it's on the internet. So you've got this Telnet service that's on the device that's facing the internet. So what's the second problem? Well, the second problem is botnets or robot networks. Robot network. It's a robot computer that is controlled by a bot master, and the bot master might have 10,000, 100,000, in one case 30 million different computers that they have control over, that they can issue command line instructions to. So your Internet of Things connected light switch that's sitting there that has a Telnet service running on it so that you can do administrative things on it. If it's facing the internet and you don't have a secure network, somebody outside can log into that device and give it simple commands. And since it doesn't have a lot of computing power, it's not a bunch of complex commands, but they can still reach out from a botnet perspective and hit your computer or your Internet of Things device. Here's a couple of videos that explain some of these things in more depth if you're interested. So you've got the Telnet service that's running on the device that you need to secure, and then you've got the botnet that can log into it and execute commands on it with simple command line. The third piece of this story is the dark web. We've heard about the dark web, and the dark web is essentially a marketplace of really nasty stuff on the internet. It's where people sell malware, they sell ransomware, they sell scripts that you can use to take over things, and most importantly for this discussion, they sell credential databases. One botmaster has found a better way to run his botnet than what he has been using. So he went out and posted 500,000 credentials, a 500,000 credential database that has the common admin codes and login codes for common routers and Internet of Things devices. So that somebody that has $10 to go buy a botnet script, maybe $20. So you got some kid sitting in their mother's basement that order up a bit of code that they couldn't write themselves, but they can buy for $10, $20, $30, $50. And then they can buy a credential database, and that credential database has usernames and passwords for IP addresses, and then he can design his own botnet and go about doing the things that he wants to do with his botnet. And one of those things that's being done is called a denial of service attack, or a distributed denial of service attack, known in the business as DDoS. DDoS, distributed denial of service attack. And what happens is that the botmaster uses all of these robot devices that he's got access to, whether they're computers or routers or Internet of Things devices, and he has them ping, it's called an ICMP ping. It's a ping packet. It's an internet device that you can use to ping a computer to see if it's online. So you can ping Amazon, and then you get a return that says, yep, Amazon's online. But for the server that you ping on the internet, it takes resources to answer that ping. So if I type in pingamazon.com, single packet goes out, it pings, it comes back, it says, yep, Amazon's online. But if I have a botnet of 10,000 Internet of Things devices, and I instruct all of them through command line code to send a ping to Amazon.com as fast as they can, which may be 100 times a second, then 100 times 10,000, all of a sudden Amazon is getting ping requests that are coming in at 1 million pings a minute. Well, to answer all of those things takes server resources, and if enough of those requests for a simple ping come in to the server, it is a distributed denial of service attack. The computer can no longer serve all of those things, and it takes the website or the web resource down. So on the dark web, selling logins or selling credentials is a way for people to make money. The FBI, the police in the Netherlands, the UK, and Germany just took down a website that had database credentials from 10,000 separate databases that got out, that got hacked. Exposed databases, 10,000 exposed databases, and 12 billion records. 12 billion records. And they were selling these. You could have a subscription, and for $6 a month or $10 a month or whatever it was, you could download X number of credentials and then go out and put them in your botnet and see if you could get devices to take over. And this database had names, usernames, passwords, IP addresses, phone numbers, all that stuff, and it was just available out there on the internet. So between those three things, a simple remote control protocol called Telnet on simple devices like Internet of Things devices, and botnets that use those simple Internet of Things devices to do things like distributed denial of service attacks, and malware that's readily available for sale on the dark web that includes credential databases, means that if you don't take the steps that you need to take to secure your Internet of Things device, all of a sudden you become a bad neighbor. Here in Texas, middle of the summer, the mosquitoes eat you alive at sundown. Now, you do everything you can in your yard to make sure you don't have any standing water and keep your grass mowed, and that's great. It holds down the number of mosquitoes that can breed in your yard. But what if your next door neighbor's grass is knee high, and he's got his sprinklers running all the time, and he's got standing water every place? Even though you're doing everything you can do, if he's not doing the things he needs to do, you still got mosquitoes coming out your ears. It's the same thing on the internet. So when you have an Internet of Things device, it's very important that you change the default passwords that are on the device, that you make sure that those are strong passwords, and you make sure that you don't reuse the passwords. Here's some information about passwords and botnets. And to be a good internet neighbor, you need to take care of those things, because we're all in this together. And if you don't take care of your security, the lack of security on your Internet of Things devices can cause problems for your internet neighbors. I'm Woody Huffines. I own the NerdsToGo in McKinney and Frisco, Texas. This is Tech for the Untechnical. Hit the subscribe button below, mash the like thumbs up, and give us a comment, and we'll do some more for you. Appreciate you joining us.